The day is done. The shadows have lengthened, and the world around you begins to quiet. Outside, the soft glow of twilight drapes the earth like a gentle blanket, and the first stars blink awake in the heavens. Your body may still feel the weight of the day, tasks unfinished, conversations lingering in your mind, moments of joy, moments of strain. But here, in this sacred pause before sleep, there is an invitation to step away from the noise and step into the peace of prayer. Close your eyes and imagine you're not in your bedroom, but in a small, warm-lit chapel. The only sound is the soft flicker of candle flames, their light dancing across an image of the Blessed Virgin Mary. She looks at you not with judgment or demand, but with that tender, knowing love only a mother can give. Her gaze says, "You can rest now. You are safe." In the stillness, you hear the faint, rhythmic sound of your own breathing. Each inhale, a gift of life from God. Each exhale, a chance to release the burdens you've been carrying. The Rosary is here, waiting to be prayed, not as a duty to check off before bed, but as a lullaby for the soul, a gentle pathway into rest. When you begin the sign of the cross, it's as though the troubles of the day lose their grip on you. The beads in your hand feel cool and grounding, pulling your attention away from the restless wandering of the mind. Every prayer becomes a soft step, leading you deeper into the heart of Mary, and through her, into the embrace of her Son. You do not have to perform here. You do not have to find perfect words or force your thoughts in a perfect order. The Rosary in the evening is not a place for rushing. It is a place for slowing down. Like the sun setting beyond the horizon, your thoughts are allowed to grow dim, your spirit allowed to rest in quiet trust. And Mary, gentle Mary, is already near. In the silence between prayers, imagine her presence beside you, as if she has drawn a soft blue mantle around your shoulders. Her voice does not rush, does not scold. She simply leads you along the mysteries, each one a scene of Christ's love that soothes your heart and eases your mind. In this space, you are reminded, the same God who spoke, "Peace, be still," to the storm can speak peace into the turbulence of your heart. He can quiet the waves of worry and soften the tightness in your chest. And tonight, through Mary's intercession, that peace is being offered to you, not as something you must earn, but as a gift you can simply receive. So, with each bead, imagine laying down the weight of one more burden. With each decade, imagine yourself stepping further away from the noise of the day and further into the still waters of God's presence. Tonight, you will not fall asleep in the arms of anxiety or the grip of unfinished business. Tonight, you will fall asleep in Mary's embrace, under the watchful gaze of her Son. And as you drift toward rest, your heart will beat in quiet rhythm with the prayer that has soothed countless souls before you. Hail Mary, full of grace. The room is dim now, lit only by the faintest glow of a nearby lamp or the silver spill of moonlight through a curtain. The air feels softer somehow, as if the whole world is settling into a shared exhale. You adjust your pillow, perhaps draw a blanket closer, and your fingers naturally find the Rosary beads again. The gentle curve of each bead fitting perfectly in your grasp, like a reassuring handhold in the darkness. You begin the first decade, your voice perhaps no more than a whisper, or even just the silent cadence of the words in your heart. The Our Father comes like a firm but tender opening door, ushering you into the mysteries. Tonight, these mysteries feel less like a series of events from long ago and more like living spaces you are invited to enter. Quiet rooms in the house of God where your soul can rest. In the first mystery you ponder, perhaps it is the Annunciation. You picture the angel Gabriel appearing to Mary, not with overwhelming thunder, but with a calm greeting. Hail, full of grace. There is no rush in the angel's words, no demand that Mary hurry or prove herself worthy. It is simply a message. God has chosen you. God is with you. And in this mystery, you hear that message spoken to you as well. Tonight, before sleep, you need not strive. You're already seen. You're already loved. As the Hail Marys pass between your lips and the silence between your breaths deepens. You notice how each prayer acts like a gentle brushstroke, painting peace across the canvas of your thoughts. You imagine Mary not standing far away in heaven, but sitting beside your bed, her presence a calming warmth in the quiet night. She is not here to instruct you in grand theological terms. She is here to be your mother. She is here to help you lay your worries down one by one, until nothing remains but stillness. The second mystery unfolds in your imagination like a slow sunrise, the visitation. Mary, carrying the presence of Christ within her, goes to Elizabeth. You picture her journey, not frantic, but steady through green hills and open skies. She carries Christ to her cousin with joy, not with strain. As you rest tonight, you let Mary carry Christ into the quieter corners of your own mind, into the places where fear, regret, or exhaustion have set up camp. She does not scold these places. She simply brings the light of her Son there, and the darkness cannot resist it. The repetition of the Rosary has its own rhythm, like the slow rocking of a cradle. Each bead is a moment of letting go, of tension in your shoulders, of the racing pace of your thoughts, of the day's unfinished tasks. Your body begins to believe what your spirit is already tasting, that here, in the prayer, you are safe. The Sacred Heart of Jesus is your refuge, and Mary's mantle is your covering. Perhaps the mystery tonight turns next to the Nativity. You picture the Holy Family in the quiet stable, the world outside, hushed beneath a blanket of stars. The child sleeps in perfect peace, and Mary and Joseph watch over him. You realize, if the Son of God himself could entrust himself to the vulnerability of sleep, then you too can surrender yourself to it without fear. Your mind, still prone to wandering, begins to align with this holy pattern, resting in God's will, trusting in his watchfulness. The decades stretch gently, and you lose track of time, not because you're distracted, but because the Rosary has carried you into a place where time feels unimportant. This is the timeless space of prayer, where heaven brushes close to earth, and the human heart leans against the divine heartbeat. In the mystery of the presentation, you see Mary and Joseph bringing Jesus to the temple. Old Simeon takes the child in his arms, blessing God for allowing him to see salvation before his death. You think about how, at the end of your day, you too are presenting yourself, your whole self, to God before you sleep. And like Simeon, you can say, "Now, Lord, let your servant go in peace." You do not fear the darkness, because you know whose hands hold you. Even as the prayers continue, your body has begun to prepare for sleep. Your breathing deepens, your muscles loosen, your heartbeat slows. But your spirit remains attentive to each sacred word. This is not simply a bedtime routine, it is an offering. Each bead is not only a prayer, but a gift you place into Mary's hands. And Mary, the perfect mother, knows exactly how to bring these prayers to Jesus, even as you drift toward the borders of rest. The final mystery of this set might bring you to the finding in the temple. You see the relief on Mary's face when she finds her son after days of searching. And you realize sometimes your own peace feels lost, misplaced somewhere between the stress and noise of life. But tonight, in prayer, Mary helps you find it again, not in the busyness of the world, but in the still presence of Christ. The one you thought you had lost was with you all along. As the final glory bee rises in your heart, you feel lighter, not because all your problems have been solved, but because you are no longer carrying them alone. The Rosary has become your bridge into rest, your gentle passage from wakefulness to peace. And tonight, you know you will fall asleep, not just beside Mary, but within the arms of the one she always leads you to, Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace. There comes a moment in the evening when the body and soul both begin to crave stillness, a yearning for the deep quiet where God's voice can be heard without strain. You feel it now. The day's noise has thinned into a gentle hush. Even the ticking of the clock seems softer, as though the whole room is preparing to join you in prayer. Your Rosary rests in your hands, cool and smooth at first touch, and then warm as your fingers move over it. This isn't a rushed prayer. This is a slow river, winding through your thoughts, washing away the dust of the day. Each bead is a stone in that river, polished by the countless prayers said upon it before, your own, and perhaps those of others before you. Tonight, that chain of prayer stretches backward through time, connecting you not only to Mary, but to every heart that has ever whispered the same words for comfort, hope, and peace. You begin again with the sign of the cross, a small but powerful act, like locking the door behind you when you enter a safe home. It marks the threshold between the busyness of the day and the sanctuary of this night. As you pray the first mystery in this block, you might choose to enter the Garden of Gethsemane with Jesus. The night is cool there. You can hear the wind rustling through olive branches, the faint sounds of Jerusalem settling in the distance. Jesus kneels, his hands pressed into the earth, his heart heavy. And yet, in this moment of agony, he still says, "Not my will, but yours be done." You let that phrase settle into you. Tonight, you too are placing yourself fully into God's hands, not knowing what tomorrow will bring, but trusting that his will is always for your good. The prayers roll forward, steady and sure. You can almost feel your pulse syncing with the rhythm of the Hail Marys, as if the prayer is breathing for you now. With each word, you loosen your grip on the anxieties still clinging to the edges of your mind. They cannot follow you into the peace you are entering. The second mystery might bring you to the scourging at the pillar. It is not an easy scene, but tonight you see it less as a moment of violence and more as a sign of endurance. Christ, though wounded, remains steadfast, and you realize, even in the harshness of the day, through mental fatigue, emotional bruises, and the wear of life, you have endured too. You have come to the end of this day, still in the company of Christ. That alone is a reason for gratitude. Gratitude begins to seep into you like warmth, softening every corner of your heart. Your breathing is slower now. The words of the Rosary have become like the gentle sway of a hammock. The third mystery draws you into the crowning with thorns. And strangely, in this moment, you see how Christ transforms even humiliation into glory. The thorns are sharp, yet a crown they remain, reminding you that nothing, not even the sharpness of your pain, is wasted in God's hands. Tonight, you can rest knowing that your hardships are not empty. They are being woven into a crown of eternal value. By the fourth mystery, the carrying of the cross, you begin to notice that your eyelids are heavier, but your spirit is more awake than it has been all day. You walk with Christ up the hill, step by step. It is tiring, yes, but each step is also a lesson. That peace is not found in avoiding life's weight, but in carrying it with him beside you. You let this truth wrap around you like a blanket. The fifth sorrowful mystery, Jesus' crucifixion, comes like the deep silence after a final note of music. In that silence, you place your own weariness at the foot of his cross. Every burden you've carried today, spoken and unspoken, lies there now, surrendered into his keeping. The crucifixion is the world's deepest night, but beyond it waits the world's brightest morning. That hope is the pillow your soul rests on. Even after the final prayers, you keep the Rosary in your hands. There's no need to rush to put it away. Tonight, it is both your prayer and your companion, a reminder that you are not alone. Not in the darkness of the room, not in the winding paths of your thoughts, not even in your sleep. The Blessed Mother is here. Christ is here, and the peace you sought has already begun to fill you. Your mind, once restless, is now like a calm lake under a full moon. Thoughts rise gently and fade without disturbance. If you drift towards sleep mid-prayer, you trust that Mary will finish it for you. The Rosary, after all, is not a performance, but a communion, and communion never ends when the heart rests in God. The night deepens. Outside, the world is wrapped in shadows, but in your room, the only darkness is gentle, a safe, cradling kind of dark. Somewhere in the distance, you might hear the faint hum of life, the whisper of wind in the trees, the occasional creak of your home settling into stillness. All of it becomes part of your prayer. Every sound is hushed, softened, as if creation itself is holding its breath in reverence for this sacred pause. Your rosary feels different now. It no longer sits in your hands as an object. It is part of you, like your own heartbeat, like your own breath. You're not so much saying the rosary anymore as dwelling within it. The rhythm has slowed. Each Hail Mary is a step deeper into the sanctuary of Mary's embrace. Imagine her now, not distant, not abstract, but here in the quiet of your room. She does not enter with the suddenness of a guest, but with the familiarity of a mother returning home. Her mantle is wide and soft, woven of colors you cannot quite name, something between dawn's first light and the deepest twilight. She draws it around you. The moment it touches you, the tension in your shoulders melts. Your breathing deepens. Your chest loosens. Mary doesn't speak much at first. She knows you don't need more words tonight. You need presence. She simply stays with you, and you realize the rosary itself has been her voice all along. The Hail Marys were her heartbeat. The Glory Be was the smile in her eyes. You return to the joyful mysteries now, not because you must, but because their light is fitting for the threshold between wake and sleep. The first mystery, the Annunciation, becomes a lullaby. You hear the angel's greeting, not as a startling announcement, but as a whisper of reassurance. The Lord is with you. Those words fold into you, reminding you that you're not stepping into the unknown alone. The night will hold no danger for the one God shelters. The Visitation, the second joyful mystery, brings movement. Mary's quick steps through the hill country to see Elizabeth. You imagine her walking toward you now, carrying Christ within her, just as she did then. Her arrival is like a lamp being lit in a dark room, casting away every shadow in its reach. You see her smile as she greets you. Blessed are you. And in that blessing, every moment of the day that felt heavy now feels lightened. The Nativity, the third joyful mystery, unfolds gently before you. You see the small, dim stable, the flicker of lamplight on rough wood, the sweet and earthy scent of hay. In the center, a child sleeps, his tiny chest rising and falling in rhythm with the world's new hope. You realize this is the peace you've been longing for, the kind of peace that doesn't just calm the surface of your mind, but renews the deepest part of you. You allow your own breath to match his. In the presentation at the temple, the fourth mystery, you see Simeon take the child into his arms, his old eyes brimming with tears. Now, Lord, you may let your servant go in peace. Those words feel like a permission slip for your own rest tonight. The rosary, the prayers, the mysteries, they have all brought you here to this holy readiness for sleep. You will close your eyes tonight, not in exhaustion, but in trust. The fifth joyful mystery, the finding of Jesus in the temple, might seem out of place in this quiet moment, but tonight you see it differently. You imagine the relief of Mary and Joseph as they spot him among the teachers, the joy that sweeps away every trace of fear. Tonight, whatever you feel you've lost, peace, clarity, hope, you entrust to Mary. She will help you find it again, even if you only wake to it in the morning light. Mary's presence remains steady and near. She is not in a hurry to leave, for she knows this is as much her moment as it is yours, a time when her child rests, and she can watch over you in the stillness. Her mantle is not just around your shoulders now. It covers your whole room, a quiet shield against anything that would disturb your rest. You no longer feel the need to finish the rosary in a formal sense. It has become more like an unbroken song that will continue even as you sleep. The beads might remain loosely in your hand, but your soul is already moving deeper into God's peace. The night no longer feels like an empty stretch of hours. It feels like a sacred chamber where the Mother of God stands watch and the angels keep guard. And so, you let your thoughts slow to the same pace as your prayers. You give your last conscious moment to gratitude for this day, for this prayer, for Mary's nearness. And with that, you let the soft tide of sleep carry you into the arms of the one who gives rest to his beloved. The last threads of wakefulness linger gently, like the final golden light of sunset before night fully arrives. Your mind, once restless and busy, now feels like a still lake, undisturbed except for the slow ripples of your breath. This is no ordinary end to a day. This is a laying down of every burden into the hands of the one who never sleeps. You feel Mary's hand on yours, not imagined, but real in the way the soul can know reality. Her touch is warm, reassuring, and timeless. She has accompanied countless children into their rest. She has watched over the sleep of saints, of weary travelers, of the brokenhearted and the hopeful. Tonight, she is here for you. Her presence tells you what words could not fully express. You are safe. You are loved. You are not alone. You remember the words of Psalm 4 verse 8. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. They rise within you as naturally as breathing, becoming a kind of gentle mantra between your final prayers. The rosary beads rest quietly in your hand. The last, Hail Mary, trailing off into a peace that feels eternal. Around you, the night deepens. The sounds of the world, distant cars, the hum of appliances, the soft ticking of a clock, fade into the background until they seem part of the silence. You are aware of something greater than this moment, a divine stillness that does not depend on your circumstances. Mary begins to draw you into the final act of prayer for the night, not with urgency, but with a mother's patience. She reminds you that the mysteries of the Rosary are not only events in history, but living gifts for your present moment. Each bead you have prayed tonight has been a thread in a blanket of grace, and now, that grace wraps you completely. You think of the child in the manger from the Nativity mystery, how he rested without fear, even in such humble surroundings, because the love of his parents and the watch of heaven were over him. You realize that same watch is over you now. The angels who sang glory to God in the highest on that night sing quietly still, their voices too soft for the ear, but too certain for the soul to miss. In the quiet, you sense Jesus himself near, perhaps not as the infant now, but as the risen Lord standing beside your bed, his hand raised in blessing. You don't need to see him with your eyes. The warmth you feel in your spirit tells you he is there. And his blessing is not just for your night. It is for your dreams, your body, your mind, and for the day that will come after the rest. Mary's mantle, which you felt earlier, now feels like a great, gentle wave folding over you completely. Its fabric is not of this world. It carries the scent of lilies and the freshness of morning air, yet it is as soft as the quiet before dawn. Beneath it, no fear can enter, no anxiety can intrude. The Holy Spirit fills the room with a peace so deep that even your heartbeat seems to slow in reverence. You whisper your last prayer, not because you must, but because gratitude overflows. Jesus, I give you this day. Mary, I rest now in your care. Let my sleep be a prayer to God. Let my dreams be touched by his light. And let me wake ready to love again. The prayer hangs in the stillness for a moment, as though heaven pauses to receive it. Then, like a candle being gently covered, your mind begins to dim, not into darkness, but into rest. There is no sharp boundary between prayer and sleep now. They blend, one flowing into the other like twilight into night. If you could see yourself in this moment, you would see peace itself etched on your face. Your features have softened, the furrow in your brow has smoothed. You look in this moment like a child again, because in truth, you are one. A child of God, a child under Mary's care. Outside, the moon continues its silent watch. The stars wheel in their courses. The same God who called them by name calls you now into his rest. The Mother of God, whose heart never tires of watching over her children, remains near, whether your dreams wander to joyful places or simply dissolve into deep, healing sleep. And so the night enfolds you. The rosary lies quiet, but its grace continues to flow. Mary's embrace lingers, warm and steady. The last thing you feel before sleep fully takes you is love, pure, unwavering and eternal. You rest, knowing you're held. You rest, knowing you're home.